Hello, everyone. Hey. All right. Wow. Those were a great presentation. I really loved a few of the concepts about what we just saw before. So I hope we can also find ways to collaborate and apply this to what we are building with the metaverse through NFTs. So today I'd like to present you a little bit some of the opportunities of building in the open metaverse, what we mean by that, and how we can hopefully also empower players and creators, give back value, 100% of the value that's being generated by the creator or through the time spent by users into those virtual worlds. So who has heard about the metaverse here? Pretty much everyone, but who is still pretty much confused about what the metaverse truly is? Well, yes, I guess there's been a lot of misuse of the terms, which has been adding to that confusion overall. And well, we're trying to make our part to make it a bit more concrete, tangible for every one of us, so we can then decide if it is what we want to enter and how we can contribute all of us into it. Okay. So there was a video before. Let me try to make this work. Here. All right. Okay, here's a little video that essentially shows us the current Alpha Season 2, which is live right now until the end of the month, that anyone can enter, creating their avatar and starting to play about 35 experiences, including avatars made by the community, experiences made by others, as well as that made by the Who's already played a little bit of... Oh, right, great. And who played in the first alpha? Wow, the two same. Okay, so we got to increase that, and hopefully we all meet there with our avatars and have some fun. It's okay. So what is it exactly that we believe is a metaverse? For us, this is more of like this myriad of virtual worlds where users, through their avatars, a 3D representation of themselves, can actually engage into more social, more fun, more rich, more immersive experiences. Those experiences could be any kind of activity that will be expanding from real real-life activities, such as games, visiting art galleries, visiting museums, virtual shows, virtual concerts, and many more. We believe, initially, the metaverse is going to be empty. That's it. Basically, it's just an empty virtual world, and we have to create all the content in it, all the 3D assets, all the world themselves. And that's why we believe 99% of the content will be actually user-generated content, meaning you, me, anyone should be able to be a creator in the metaverse and be able to be rewarded for the values they're going to bring as a creator. So we provide tools which we think are accessible by anyone using voxel sort of representation. Think of them of like digital Legos, so that anyone can start creating without having the need to read any user manual, and publish their content, put them on marketplaces, use them on with a game maker that again is no code, and be able to create content that will be fun and engaging. Beside user-generated content, you also will encounter in the metaverse more IP and brands. We believe they bring culture in the metaverse and help bridge users between the physical world and the virtual world. So when you enter this world with an avatar and you find a lot of content you're not yet familiar with, and then suddenly you see one of those brands that you've grown up with in the physical world, such as like Gucci, Adidas, Ubisoft, or Snoop Dogg. What's going to happen is like most of us are going to go with our avatar into those places, and they will define our very first interaction, how we'll connect with other users in place we are familiar with before we go and explore the one we are not familiar with. But going beyond that, and I think that's something we're really pushing for, is like how we enable any brand to launch their official content as NFTs, and that allow any creators to use those to make their own games, their own experience, publish them on their land, and monetize them. And that's, I think, something new, really powerful for anyone to be able to remix official content together with their content and be able to own that and monetize that. And the kind of experience we want to push for is essentially new format. We start with games, but we're really pushing forward a new form of entertainment where you can own all the content. You can build with others. You can socialize, meet, and even earn a revenue derived from the time you spend with others or as a creator, potentially leading to new jobs, new activities that could define your next revenue streams. We're building it using blockchains. So Sandbox is actually built on the Ethereum layer 1 blockchain. We're migrating progressively all the tokens of the platform towards layer 2 on Polygon. And we contributed to the ERC 1155 standards, if some of you are familiar. And I believe like it starts at a game. It starts first with community-driven effort and the idea to empower users who are through true ownership of their digital asset. And it's increasingly becoming more and more a digital nation with its own digital economy, with its own financial incentive, and ultimately over its own governance. As once we'll introduce a DAO, the community itself could decide which will be the priorities on the platform in terms of development, how will be the lands and the several things author assign, how grants will be assigned to creators, and much more. But first thing first, like we all need an avatar to start playing around the metaverse. So you can create your avatar. My recommendation is don't try to make yourself in the metaverse. Just get that opportunity to rethink who you really want to be, whether it's a man, a woman, or a non-human creator. And take this chance as well to really embrace the idea of like there could be given more equality, more equality in terms of like chances that are being given to you. So you no longer like have to inherit some parameter of your life, like get inherited, such as like your social situation, the education you receive, the country you're from, but really have people see you in the metaverse just based on like the value you actually contribute to the community, based on what you bring as a creator or how you engage with others and animate those worlds, give life to those worlds, welcome other users, etc. So essentially the way you look, the way people will perceive you, and the communities you're part of from the NFT you own, or the content you create will essentially define the value you contribute to that world and how others are perceiving you. In a sense, through your avatar, you get the possibility to build content, own content, collect content, participate in the governance, and even be rewarded for that participation, leading to the model like used to be called play to earn, but I think the definition is really evolving to like play and earn or play or earn with, and what's specific into Sandbox is like the kind of play is really very wide in all those activities. You can be a creator, you can actually learn and earn, etc. So we don't want to put verbs on every action and earn, but the idea is like it's never the same action repeated that actually can drive you reward and incentive. Another aspect that makes Sandbox unique is this map, this virtual world with a finite number of lands that we've sold. So far, we've sold about 70% of the map, as you can see here. And anyone can own a piece of this virtual world as an NFT. What matters, and we think like that's been something we've seen that's quite interesting, is like really your neighborhood, which is like is something that's been created through the possibility of like putting your own logo on your land to reinforce this notion of owning this property, being able then to publish content, to monetize it. Land is seen as a valuable asset because think about it, as we're going to spend more and more time with our avatars into virtual worlds, for work, for socializing, for playing, for learning, for other sort of interaction, we actually can build content much faster than in the physical world. It's just a matter of hours, days at worst, instead of like months or years. And we get access to a global audience. Why do we need property in the physical world at some point when we could actually have properties that we care more about into virtual world? And so more and more people are starting to think like that and even want to have their own mansion, their own house, their own place where they can develop the content. And to some, in certain extent, like who is going to be your neighbor also is going to matter. Like, so based on, as you can see here, we have like various brands and IPs, like we have Snoop Dogg, we have Atari, Adidas, brands have entered, and some fans, some community wants to be next to, we want to be the neighbors of their favorite brands and content. And that creates a great diversity in what can be found in every corner of the map and not just at the center. So it's also a chance to recreate a world where there's a better distribution of like the interests and the activities we can find with our avatars. Some of the brands that have already entered Sandbox range from gaming, lifestyle, fashion, Web3 communities, there's a lot of them as well, and sport as well, and many other topics. So here, I think here is really important, in my opinion, like how communities, NFT-based communities have really captured the essence of virtual world and how they can actually leverage that to add more value, add more utility for their own collection and their own communities. I'm sure every one of you, like who owns like a PFP NFT? All right, what do you do with it? All right, pretty much nothing. It just flips in your wallet. So we try to solve that by adding more utility, more fun to the various NFT PFP collection, allowing the holders to not just have them slip in a wallet, but try to turn those 2D profile picture into 3D playable characters that then become your avatar. They become your identity into a place, a virtual world, where you can now socialize, dance, chat, do other activities with the other member of the community. But you can also use the creation tools to build the universe, the environment, the stories, the adventures, you name it, that will expand on the universe, on the lore from the different profile picture collection that you are part of. So I find it's quite interesting and it's been driving a lot of value. We started with Bored Ape. We have also a World of Women, Gutter Gat Gang, the CryptoPunks in progress. And progressively through this interoperability bridge, we'll showcase that owning an NFT that's been made somewhere in the ecosystem can actually benefit from additional use cases in virtual world. And then suddenly you can become that character that you bought and you liked into the metaverse. We try also to give sense and value to like the fans, essentially. So here's, for example, with Snoop Dogg, like a lot of his fans were like trying to visit his real mansion in Hollywood. They wanted to access his concert, but well, COVID makes things complicated, and he has millions of fans, but how many of them will actually be able to see that in person? So he found like it could be valuable to actually make his mansion and his compound and his garage of collectible cars, etc., accessible to anyone in the metaverse, and going beyond to offer the holder to his pass the access to his first virtual concert, and actually going even further. He was a character in the GTA game before, and it was just an experiment, but it was pretty fun. People liked playing as him, so he decided to launch his own collection of 10,000 characters, but directly skipping the part of like the 2D picture, straight into like 3D playable characters. And that's what we launched about 2 to 3 weeks ago, a collection of 10,000 already animated avatars from Snoop Dogg. Actually, each one of them representing part of his historical music collection. Again, this is variable for his fans, and that their fans can actually play already. Since yesterday, they can actually play directly into Sandbox as their identity. So we try to reduce the time between having an NFT and being able to use it and play with it into the metaverse. Going a bit further, I think like there's a great amount of opportunities for all of us to engage and somehow find value, contribute as well to the community in the metaverse. And there will be a need for millions of jobs, ranging from creation jobs like digital architect, fashion designers, house designers, game designers, level designers, people who are building all those experiences. What's great is that those are not kind of skills you're going to learn at school. Those are the kind of skill you learn just by being part of a community and starting to use the tools. We also are going to see jobs related like to discovery, animation, host. Playing is becoming a game, and is becoming actually a revenue source. Sorry, and it can be considered. I don't know how many of you like had your parents say, stop playing those stupid Nintendo games. Like, you're losing time. You'll never make any revenue, any job of it. And I think that has a potential to totally change that paradigm. And I'm really happy. I'll share that story after about some of our builders that are creating as a family now the games and the content on the platform. And there's many more businesses that can be invented around the tokens, the NFT behind. When you think like land is infrastructure, avatars is infrastructure that enable access potentially as NFT to many other applications into the Ethereum ecosystem. And I believe the previous presentation really echoed to me in a sense like we are building this metaverse will be as good as its content. And to be successful, it has to have like a very successful ecosystem first. Like if builders are not successful, if there's no creators who earn revenue from the content they build on the platform, then will not succeed in this mission. So that's why we've been supporting so far with the foundation of Sandbox, which is essentially reinvesting 50% of any revenue stream. So every time someone spends by smart contract, 50% goes back into the foundation to be distributed to artists, to creators, to players, to people who stake the token as well. And we've seen like creators from all around the world already embrace the tool. There were maybe 1, 2 initially. Today, they are more like 10, 20 people, sometimes 40. Some of them, they made it their new business. They hired, they raised funds for the most successful one. And we have teams from Hong Kong, from Korea, from UK, from France, from Brazil, and so on, who are now creating the experience for some of the largest brands in the world, as well as some of the 20,000 landowners. And I believe at some point, we'll all need the service of one of those guys as we will want to create fun stuff on our lands. But that's not enough. So we want to push even further the initiative to keep supporting the ecosystem. So we launched an Accelerator Launchpad program in partnership with Brink that has already received more than 1,000 applications from various entrepreneurs. So it's really exciting to see all the amount of energy and ideas that people have around like how to bring more people in Web3, in NFT, and leveraging land and the different assets. And we'll be selecting 100 startups over the course of the next 2 years and give them and fund them with check size between $150,000 to $250,000. So hopefully they will like successfully execute on their strategy and will spawn like the next successful entrepreneur of tomorrow. We went a bit further as well. We think like this also, it's really a chance for us to redefine the world again, to be more, to have more equality of access to every opportunity and chances for everyone. And we, frankly speaking, we believe there's not enough women in the space. It's been a long time industry, like not enough women in gaming, in tech, in blockchain in general. So let's try to do something, at least that the metaverse try to be more equals in terms of like diversity and inclusivity. So we've been supporting the World of Women Foundation with a grant of $25 million over 5 years, which they will be fully managing, because that's one of the most successful PFP collection, 10,000 avatar collection of women, designed by women who have been already doing a lot of actions toward like promoting artists, promoting content from women and diverse communities. And we felt that by providing them more funding, they could actually accelerate and grow those efforts to educate and bring on more talent and opportunities from the communities in the space. So we're really looking forward to them to kick off that program and also launch the Museum of Women in the Metaverse and enable any of their holders to play through their 3D avatars. We've launched the alpha last December. So one of our intention was to make also the Metaverse not just a world, not just a concept, but something that anyone could start playing around, even though it's still very much an alpha. And I think we all see like there's great possibilities, but so far we're far from the Ready Player One kind of vision. But yet we have to start somewhere, and that somewhere was this alpha version we launched last December, which had a lot of positive feedback. Like we had 90% positive feedback. We have over 200,000 users who engaged, played 18 experiences, and 5,000 pass holder actually earned 1,000 cents each, which back then roughly was $4,000, as they engage through 20 days of discovery, playing, socializing, and so on. So demonstrating the idea of play to earn here. And we get started again with the season 2. So I invite you to try it out, create your avatar, and also try to think and embrace the idea of the metaverse as this space, this location where like there's this great mashup of culture. It's hard to define what is NFT culture, but we try to put it in one image, and we try to make it so that anyone entering Sandbox, the first thing they see actually is, well, that those collection, all the art, new artists, NFTs from brands, NFTs from existing communities. And maybe from there, they start to adhere as well to the ethos of the space. They want to contribute, they want to engage with others, they want to as well be featured and more. And that's pretty much it for my talk today as a general introduction to the metaverse and what we have been doing. And well, yes, we are hiring as well. If you're interested, we have offices all around the world, in France, in US, in Canada, in Korea, in Japan, and growing fast. Thank you.